Well, hello, our little lifers. Mark Little here. As you can see by the title, this is going to be quite the video. One that I did not expect would be sharing here on this channel when Donna and I decided to start our little life. As many of you know, it was a spinoff from Donna's channel, The Coop Scoop, about us raising chickens and quail, mainly chickens. I'm glad all of you are here. Never expected I'd be sharing something so profound and personal that just recently unfolded, but it's a story that must be shared. And hopefully, this can be seen as a privilege for our little tiny group of subscribers that we have built. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we hope that you're able to absorb this story that has unfolded. So, like I said, just by the title, you know where this is going. It's been quite the experience. It's been quite the journey. But in the end, love always wins, and had to work through some challenging emotions that built up to this moment that you're about to witness. So let us share this story of what's been going on with my family. It's incredible to witness. So sit back, get your favorite beverage, have some uninterrupted time, and watch something that's so profound and wholesome. And you'll get to see a video of my 94-year-old father meeting his 73-year-old daughter from Okinawa, my half sister, meet and embrace for the first time, and be able to flip through the genealogy that she's created to see a glimpse of her life growing up without knowing her father, with a longing that God would allow her one day to find and meet him. And thanks to modern technology and DNA testing, we'll share how everything unfolded, the moment from that phone call that built up to this experience that we all are going to witness here shortly. So welcome to our little life with Mark and Donna Little, where we definitely keep it real. All right. Hello, our little lifers.
I'm Donna.
And I'm Mark.
And this has been a week.
It has.
It's been a week for a couple of different things.
How do you want to unpack this? You want me to just kind of say what's on my mind and we'll just sort of, you help direct it, or?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, let me get my dog. Come here, Brittany. Come here.
I'll say this. First of all, Mark and I came from very different childhoods and very different backgrounds. So he, I think, came from such a traditional family.
Christian,
very
raised in the church.
Raised in the church. Mom was stay-at-home mom, cooked every meal. Dad was out, building a business and working. And so I came from this chaotic, crazy, feral child kind of, in the 60s. Listen, if we came home at the end of the day alive, it was probably considered a win.
Yeah, but I think that's what has made our marriage work.
Yeah, very different.
So anyway,
But where I was going to go with that is because of that, when we found out the news that Mark had a sister, a half-sister, and...
Well, let's go back to that. Let me just kind of build up to that moment.
Okay.
Right? So keep in mind, COVID had hit. Mom and Dad are getting older. I'm trying to build a new business. There was Debbie, Cindy, Renee, and me. Renee fell ill.
Yes, middle sister.
Yeah, and Renee died that year.
Yeah.
Mom's starting to have challenges. We're having to start making decisions, caretaking for her. So
all those things are going on in life. And ringy dingy, the phone rings one night, and it's Debbie, and had my cousin Clint on the phone.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I didn't even really remember how it went down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it was one of those you sitting down moments, and it's sort of like, anyway, I think it was Clint or one of my cousins had a DNA test, and lo and behold, it activated the search that Erico, my dad's daughter in Okinawa, it triggered. So all of a sudden, they're quote unquote over the target, and so it was a moment of digesting the news that his name was Mark. It was Erico's relative's
it was,
husband.
I think her brother-in-law
that was in the service.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, Erico speaks very little English.
Yeah, like 50 words.
So that'll make sense here in a little bit. And so it was one of those moments of trying to digest the news, like, what?
Yeah.
And why did we not know? And then, does mom know? No, mom doesn't know. So there was all these emotions of instant protecting mom. Go ahead.
Right. And then he found out that his dad's siblings knew. They had always known.
His parents knew.
His parents had always known. And it just felt almost like a betrayal for him. And when I found out about it, I think, and that's kind of gets back to our childhoods, I was just like, how exciting is this? Like, this is awesome. And he was like, I mean, I just feel like we should have been told this, and he's hidden this from my mom all these years. And I'm like, it is what it is, like this is going to be awesome.
Well, I think it was a process of all the other stuff. And my main thing was protecting mom at their age and at this length of time. And plus all the other stuff that was going on. It was a lot to digest. So I obviously, Donna was the, free-spirited, this is awesome type of thing. Hope they get to meet stuff. And I'm going, hang on, pump the brakes. I need to protect mom, and please don't. And so anyway, I ended up talking with Mark and got on the phone.
Well, and he is American.
Yeah.
And so he was translating.
And I was explaining the situation best I could. And of course, we don't know who these people are. They didn't know who we are, didn't know what the agenda was and all those things. And I said,
Mark is suspicious.
And I said, yes, I am. And I said, okay, hey, just give us a chance to figure this out. Please don't just call.
Yeah, we definitely. I would have not wanted them to.
It would have just
call their
crushed
house.
mom, and so anyway, we'll kind of move on.
Let me say this was not a situation of his dad cheating on his mom at all. They were not together. He was shipped over there when he was how old?
Around 20, 19, 20.
Yeah, and so
they weren't dating.
They weren't even dating.
Yeah, didn't even know mom existed. Yeah. So this we'll kind of tie all the right things of how it's all ended up becoming. Yeah. But so anyway, dad's hard of hearing. So it's like, how in the world do we let dad know and how he wants to handle it? Let's confirm if mom knows or not, because maybe she did. Who knows? Blah, blah, blah. So ended up figuring out that I was going to print out the emails with the correspondence between everybody. And I got dad in the car and I drove him to a parking lot, and I just gave him the emails.
Because a lot of times, because he's so hard to hear, and he will pretend like he hears you.
And he don't.
Yeah.
So and then I wrote him a letter. And so I was trying to stuff the things I wanted to say and ask, because this was his moment, because he knew he had a child. But it was a situation of he's in Okinawa. Keep in mind the time frame of it. And I'll go ahead and say that things that we learned kind of made it more sentimental and special, because dad actually loved Erica's mother. Mom. They were in love. And so it's like ended up being a love story, a heartbreaking situation. So, when dad had to leave, when he was ordered to leave the island, she was 8.5 months pregnant.
Yeah. And we actually just found that out.
Yeah. She was 8.5 months pregnant. And of course he tried to bring him to the States, but keep in mind, this is in the 50s.
Right. And he was still in the military, and that was not happening. And from what I remember, his sister telling me, Erica's sister was kind of saying something like, he's not coming back for you. You need to just let this go. And so I don't think
so correspondence stopped. Dad, he didn't know what to do. This was not back you could just hop on a plane and and fly back out. There wasn't phones and cell phones and all that.
Yeah.
So it's just like he had to just make that decision that you make when you're 21.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, think about
to just let it go. And he came back and just ended up moving on with his life. And of course, like when he said, we didn't know anything about this. None of his kids did. And when we did find out, and his aunt and a few uncles were like, yeah, well, we knew. But the thing was, I don't think that they ever got involved in that enough to even think about it again.
Yeah.
It was kind of like there were a lot of siblings. How many were in your dad's family? And they were just
7 or 8.
Yeah, they were just like his sister.
And there was a big gap. There was Billy, Jimmy, and Dad, and then there was some years gap, and then the rest.
And then 5 more kids. So his
Dad's baby sister was born when he was in Okinawa.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is not something that was even really like important to them, and until I guess now.
Yeah.
That it's resurfaced.
Yeah. But, so I worked through a lot of feelings and emotions and almost some animosity towards Dad and I think it came from the way we were raised and, the things we got in trouble for growing up and, being honest and all that. But I've been able to work through all that and realize, he was in his 20s.
Right.
Geez. And when you make a decision, you make the decision. He had no idea, nor did any of us know in life that fast forward, you're going to be able to have DNA testing and be able to connect the dots like that.
I think definitely he thought when he came back, I'm going to have to put this behind me, even though I love this woman, I will never find her again.
Yeah.
And, like I said, he was still in the military. It's not like he could have just said, hey, I'm running back to Japan.
Yeah. And I think it's just one of those things that the initial phase of it all, and then again, so much was going on with life and COVID. So from the moment of finding out, then Dad has to bury one of his daughters and my sister when Renee died later in the year, because this was all in 2021. And then Mom has been having some major challenges, health challenges. So we, as a family, have been dealing with all of that. For those of you that may have dealt with caring for an elderly loved one, especially your parents or grandparents, it's a lot. By itself. It's a lot. So it's easy to dismiss the fact of that's, I just sort of kind of started dismissing it and focusing on just life from Renee dying
so it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
A little over 3 years since y'all found out. And his oldest sister, Debbie,
has stayed in touch
with her. Yeah. And they've talked through those translator apps and that sort of thing, and have gotten to know each other. And it's so funny because when I saw a picture for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh. The family resemblance is insane. And I jokingly called her Japanese Johnny.
The genes are strong.
The genes are strong, you know. So but for me, like finding out that this happened, like I said, I think it does come from just, we were all sort of free spirits when we were young, when my mom and dad were divorced. And so it didn't seem so. I actually know that my dad has a son while my parents were married that I've never met. I have no idea how to find him or, where to contact him from. I don't know his name or his mother's name or anything. But all I could think is what a miracle it would be for this woman to get to meet him, because at that time he was 90. And she was about 70. To turn, I think she was about to turn 70 when the first phone call was placed. And so I was like, what are the odds?
Yeah, and again, COVID shut the world down.
Yeah.
Right? So and I think it's also, and Mom got really worse.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess let's go ahead and fast forward and then take, I guess, time so we can get to the good stuff that everybody, I think, is so awesome to share. Because at the end of the day, been able to work through all this, but the last flare up of emotions that really I didn't handle it well. And Donna's always helps me kind of see things
for what voice of reason.
Yeah, exactly. And so Mom went to the hospital last December.
Yeah.
And we
With
didn't,
pneumonia.
yeah, we didn't think she was, well, actually we were told she was not going to survive the hospital. And for some reason, God willing, she survived the hospital. Then we had to save her from the hospital. So we brought mom home with hospice last January. And so it's been a process of transitioning into, they now have 24-hour nursing care. We were told mom would be on oxygen for the rest of her life. Back in March, she made the decision because she's really suffering. Dementia's getting worse. Yeah. It's just sad and horrible. It's like she wanted to come off. She was aware enough of things like, I'm ready to just go be with Jesus. And so she was going to come off the oxygen. Hospice ordered morphine, so we're all preparing as a family. Well, here we are in November, and she's still hanging on. And she just fell yesterday, and broke her shoulder. And this is the midst of, it was last couple weeks ago. I was out there at mom and dad's, and mom was having an extremely, extremely bad day.
Yeah, because there are times when she's very incoherent and she still thinks her mom is alive.
Yeah.
And so she just found out that her mom and brother, who passed away years ago, were gone.
Somebody, for those of you that have any experience or because I'm in the industry, my company specializes in
elder
care with, placing families into assisted living, memory care. Anyway, when anybody in dementia has those moments of asking for, like, where's mama? You don't tell them they're home to be with Jesus. You go along with it. You try to diffuse it. You don't confuse them.
And so somebody said that to her, and so she was grieving.
Yeah,
like literally, like her mom had just passed away.
And so I'm mad at the situation that someone once again said that they're with Jesus, because she was asking about my Uncle James. She was asking about her sister. She was asking about her mother, her father. And she was having a bad day. And so dad's sitting in the recliner. I'm sitting in between them. And the nurse comes over to mom, and dad leans over and he goes, "Did Debbie tell you Erica's coming to visit?" And I had no knowledge of it. It was not the right time. And so that caused some spats. I kind of lashed out at my sister for not having a family discussion. And again, nobody's right or wrong. But as things settled and, talking with Donna, I had to remove all of my thoughts, judgments, animosities, stress of the current situations, thinking it's sad and disrespectful to mom and this sneaking around. But it is what it is. Yeah. And dad's 94.
I mean, time is of the essence.
Time's of the essence.
She also it's her dad.
It's her dad.
It's not a stepdad.
No.
It's not a distant relative.
And it's not her fault. It's not her fault. And so anyway, I told my sister, I said, make sure you record the moment they first lay eyes on each other.
Because he had to work.
Because I had a meeting. I had to do it. I had to go to a senior center and talk to a group. But it happened to be in the same area. So I was only 5 minutes away from my sisters. And so obviously I was going to go over there and meet her myself for the first time. But keep in mind, very little English. My dad is deaf, pretty much. Totally. So when you see the interaction, keep in mind that dad can't hear, really. So we'll get around here in a moment to show the most awesome video.
So sweet. So sweet. Yeah.
And so I was going to say something else that my feeble mind has forgotten. but regardless of course, Donna's got to meet her. So to look at this, I wish I could just talk to Erica. I wish I could just talk with her instead of going through this app. But when I first met her and I walked in, and just her reaction and just burying her head in my chest and just weeping. And the thing that I was not anticipating, and for some reason it just didn't sink in, Erica had put together, which we will share with you, her genealogy. It's like a book of her growing up.
Yeah. And her children.
Seeing dad's genealogy in Okinawa, Japan, was flabbergasting. I'm going, he has had, for all these years, we've been all living life for 70 years. We all been just living life. and he's had a whole nother family genealogy.
Because he had 4 kids here, Mark, and 3 daughters, and there were only 2 grandchildren out of all of that. So only 2 of his daughters had, one of his daughters had 2 children, and he's got now 2 great-grandchildren
here. And he's got a great-grandchild in Okinawa, but he's got more.
Yeah, he has 9 grandchildren. 9 grandchildren in Okinawa.
That's crazy.
They're actually not in Okinawa. They're in a little island
in Japan.
Of there. Yeah, but it's so crazy that this other entire family came from that. Because I was like, he's going to leave more of a legacy in Japan than here.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks to all of our subscribers. So we will wrap this portion up, and we will now let you guys see the moment Dad meets his daughter and my half sister.
And what a miracle that is. I mean, for somebody to, a lot of people don't even make it into their 70s, and she's 73 and he's 94.
Yeah.
And they were able to get that done.
I hate that she did not get the experience
him when he was younger.
Because Dad's an awesome man.
Yeah.
He is really an awesome man. And I hate that she did not get.
He's the king of the dad jokes and all.
So I wish that she could have experienced his love, because he's full of it. So anyway, let's get into the video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Please like, share, subscribe. We do want to grow this channel. This was a deep one. This was an unexpected one, but when we started this channel, we told you guys to welcome to our little life, and we're just going to share everything.
You're along for the ride.
Along for the ride. So let's get into that, and then we will close it out after that video with some pictures, family pictures that we took with her. And now I want to add a note, which was really kind of sad and poignant to me, if that's the right word, is seeing the picture of me and my other sisters and Erica, and Renee's not here.
Yeah.
So it's like Erica is my 3rd sister when she would be my 4th that's alive.
Right.
So with Renee not being able to be here to experience this as well, it's a little sad. Yeah. So anyway, I'm Mark.
And I'm Donna.
And welcome to our little life. So enjoy the video.